This is a topic we were going to get into yesterday, and I want to talk about James Bond. Nobody ever wants to talk about James Bond as much as me, but I don't care. I love that character. Mm-hmm. I love the fact that they're still, in some way or shape or form, the quintessential original male power fantasy for these types of movies, meaning that men want to be him, women want to be with him. And the movie that just came out, despite having a pretty abysmal showing here in the U.S., I think it's barely over 100 million, like 130 million or something like that. Wow. Don't quote me, fact check me on that. But is like now crossing over 900 million in the global box office, making it the highest grossing movie of the pandemic, likely until Spider-Man comes out. And the first thing I saw once this movie was finished, because Daniel Craig this is his last
Don't
run.
tell me that.
Well,
spoiler alert.
That's not a spoiler alert.
Well, they announced it for a long time.
Yeah, they announced this a long time ago. So
I'll miss him. He was my favorite.
Basically, see,
you can finish.
This is very interesting because most people prefer the one they grew up with, or at least I find that. Or if they're snobs, they just say Connery.
I'm attached to only what's best.
Okay.
It's this guy.
This says MGM has now begun their search for the next James Bond, and it says with the release Idris Elba. There's talk of him being in it, but not as James Bond, as the lead bad guy.
That's sad.
With the release of No Time to Die, we have seen the end of Daniel Craig's run as James Bond. So spoiler alert, Shane. And as James Bond, and now fans of the renowned spy have been left wondering what's next for 007. MGM president of Motion Pictures, I'm awful, Pamela Abdi, has disclosed that the search for the next actor to don the coveted tux has currently begun, and in the work for the next Bond film is in its early stages. Quote, "It's wide open. We have very early primary conversations with Barbara Broccoli and Michael Wilson, but we wanted Daniel to have his last hurrah. Barbara Broccoli has previously claimed that the studio will not be looking for a replacement for Daniel Craig until 2022, which is all of 4 weeks away.
We're there.
Saying that it would begin thinking about the future next year. But according to Abdi, the search for the next James Bond has already begun. Maybe something has certainly shifted behind the scenes. Maybe they were all too ecstatic to wait." So the article is pretty boilerplate. His movies are over. So I do want to know, what would you guys, if you could pick an actor, who would you pick to take that role? I think we know Miracle's answer.
I really was excited for Idris Elba, even though when they first announced that, everybody was fighting against it on Twitter, and I'm like, okay, could we just have a new James Bond? I get it that because Brett clarified it for me, he was a white man, but still, it would be a cool new twist to have a black man.
He's described in the books as that way, so it depends on how most people these days aren't necessarily highly connected to the source material.
Would it be funny to have Ryan Reynolds?
Oh my God, that would be awful.
I'm tired of Ryan Reynolds.
I love Ryan Reynolds.
I love him, but I've had enough. I think if we...
But it's better than The Rock, because he did offer to
gotta be British.
Role. He can fake a British accent.
He could.
No.
I don't think The Rock.
Vin Diesel.
That's true.
That I could do.
He said no.
That I could do. Yeah. No, Ricky Gervais I think would be a great 007.
Really?
Yeah, don't you think?
Yeah.
If they want to be really unafraid and go in, and he's got the accent.
I love the answer. I love the creativity.
Yeah, no, it could be that, but my favorite Superman.
George Lopez.
I'll take no.
I was that was my answer.
My favorite Superman, I think Henry Cavill.
The answer is very clearly
James Bond.
The answer is very clearly Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
He's a gorgeous man.
He might have
the accent.
He might have to lose some muscle.
He is a little too wide.
He's a little bulky.
Yes, he's a little too wide.
He's pretty, somebody suggested
Vin Diesel.
Somebody suggested Tom Hardy. I don't know if I want James Bond with a weird accent.
Okay, Tom Hardy is one of my favorite actors.
Yeah. But I
don't know if we need him as a Bond, because he's kind of established as a very dark. Yeah. There's a grimness to him.
Yeah.
That Bond has, but there's also a weird softness to Bond.
Maybe it's just the big fact that the most of the stuff that I see from him nowadays are the Venom movies, and I haven't really watched a lot of the other stuff that he's been in recently. I saw not Black Mass, but the one about the two brothers, the two crime brothers. But
I didn't see that. You should see Bronson if you haven't.
I haven't seen
the
it.
best movie he's done. One of my favorites.
Okay, I'm used to he kind of always looks disheveled. And he's got a very he looks everyman to me, in British
Inception, he's
everyman
put together.
Okay,
but yeah,
I don't think of James Bond as the everyman. James Bond is supposed to be dapper and very, very regal and put together.
If Henry Cavill can lose the Witcher body, then he could be James Bond.
He has to go like the opposite, like unworkout. Like he gets up and he's like, I would normally work out, and instead he just goes and like
no push-ups.
No push-ups. He just watches. He's like, normally I would work out and listen to music. You just got to listen to music, dude. You can't. He's a gamer. He can just sit around and play World of Warcraft.
That's true.
I did hear that if she survives the next few weeks, the next Bond girl could be Ghislaine Maxwell.
Why?
You didn't hear that?
No.
Oh.
What?
That must have been what I was.
What?
I don't have a TV. No, I'm just kidding.
I was like, is he putting me on right now?
You didn't see that? Oh.
Oh my god. They did away with the term Bond girl. You're not allowed to say Bond girl anymore.
Ugh.
You're not allowed.
I will say Bond girl.
It's very sexist.
It's very sexist.
Why?
Yeah.
What's sexist about? She's a girl.
Because
she's
it's
with Bond.
2021. It's sexist now.
No.
Is it Bond woman?
No, you can't even say
Bond person.
It's a Bond person.
Bond birthing person.
Actress. No, actor, because you can't say actress either, because that's disrespectful.
But Bond girl is different than just being an actress. It's a Bond girl's like being James Bond.
Exactly. It's a pedestal they put you on. It's an actual accomplishment to be cast in that role.
It's a beautiful thing to be a Bond girl.
More
I
than
wish I could be a Bond girl.
More than a couple of the Bond girls have come out and said like, this is stupid. Like,
for real?
Like old Bond girls are like, that's stupid.
What they're saying now.
Yeah, about what they're saying now.
Right, because it takes away from like what they thought was probably a great thing.
Which goes to why I wasn't the biggest fan of Daniel Craig. I love Casino Royale. I forget
who was in it.
That was that was Daniel Craig's first. That was Eva.
Oh, Eva Green.
Eva Green, and the other one was Gemma Arterton. No, she was in Quantum of Solace. But all intents and purposes, the only one that matters in that one is Eva Green, right? But
she was great.
In most of the movies, she's not portrayed that way. He's very disposable with the women, which I know sounds sexist, but it is part of that character's lore and fantasy.
Yeah. You can't twist every character to fit whatever mold the narrative today is trying to sell. It's like they're bad characters, and there's complex characters. It could be anything. I think.
He's like, and they did rewrites on these movies. In these recent ones, they had like a feminist writer come in and do rewrites and say that James Bond is, quote, a little rapey.
What do you mean rapey?
Basically, like he's a forward and alpha male, meaning like unspoken acts between him. He didn't say, I would like to have sexual intercourse with you, ma'am. Do you consent? And because nobody wants to actually see that in a movie.
Isn't that just called courting?
You would think.
Well, we've changed the definitions, and I think this is from the same crowd that says buying a woman a drink is rapey. So,
yes.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'll buy you a drink.
I don't. That's great. I don't like that we have to squeeze these movies through like a Twitter,
they shouldn't need to be
to see if it'll fit, the narrative of the day.
You shouldn't need to live in the Twitter sphere to talk about this stuff.
Right.
Like, or your movie shouldn't have to go through like some type of Twitter tribunal to talk about like whether it's acceptable, because that's not the real world.
Yeah. I wonder what it says about Spider-Man doing so well and Bond not doing so well here. And if like there's a younger audience going out because they know they'll see something that fits the Twitter life. Or if it's just young people are more willing to go outside and older people aren't. I'm curious about the difference in those movies.
Well, also part of it was that this movie got average marketing in other countries, meaning that it wasn't particularly dismissive of like the Bond lore. It was just portrayed as just a regular Bond movie, whereas here it got the super politically correct treatment, which I think in America, because they're very sensitive to that here right now. Remember, America's issues are not the world's issues, so America might have just jumped the gun and been like, because from what I've heard, the movie was not woke. Like, I didn't go see it because of the end of the movie.
Right.
I didn't want to. They did something at the end of the movie. I will not spoil it. I know I had an issue.
My wife spoiled it for me already. I know.
I spoiled. I spoiled a Netflix movie yesterday, and Chris gave me crap about it. He's like, "Yeah, you just talked about the whole thing without really telling people." Sorry about that, Chris. I will not spoil it, but based on what they did at the end of this movie, I just didn't want to go see it because of what they've done to that character. But here, like from what I've heard, that was the only thing that was really objectionable. It really wasn't all that politically correct or all that, for a lack of a better term, woke. Who cares, whatever. But the movie was generally good, but it just didn't get the right marketing here.
Yeah. It's just hard. It's hard because when I see things, I rarely go to the movies and I don't have a TV, so I'm mostly watching stuff on my phone when I do, and it's you can almost immediately smell when someone's trying to sell me something.
That's kind of what it is now for the most part. Like a lot of these companies, they ruin themselves with bad marketing.
Yeah.
Like the Ghostbusters 2016 didn't do bad necessarily because of the movie was bad. It was, but it was the bad marketing combined with like the actual people on the movie not being good with fans on Twitter.
Yeah.
Like a little bit of humility and kindness goes a long way when you're dealing with established properties.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know. That was so you think Henry Cavill?
I mean,
Is there anybody else?
He doesn't so much look like it, but he's got the charm.
Yeah.
I think he could be great. Who else is there? I mean, Idris Elba is amazing.
He is.
He's a little old for that role now.
Okay.
I think he's
What maybe they do Bond in the future, like old Batman or something.
Or
James Bond Beyond. Oh my
Ooh.
God.
More fanfic.
Or you can cast Hugh Jackman.
He's a little old as well.
It's okay. Like I like his theory of not theory. I like your idea where you're pitching like we do Bond in the future. So it's Hugh Jackman in the future.
How about Tom Holland?
Yes, he's not doing anything. I think.
He's not busy.
You could actually do that because is he Australian or is he British?
He's British.
He could do it. I mean, he's still a little short and wimpy.
He's got to prove himself to me.
Even with muscles, he's a little bit.
Oh my
Bond's
God.
not about having muscles though; it's about having wit.
But he's got to fill out the suit.
Yeah, because like if you're a 5'4" guy with no muscles, do you think you can like basically judo flip a person who's like over 6 feet into 200
I've seen
pounds?
Tom Holland do it.
It was
Sign
real.
him up.
It was real. We
real?
saw it.
Is wrestling real too? Is the WWE real?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is. Don't tell me otherwise.
Okay, fine. Then John Cena is invincible.
Has anyone said?
How about John Cena?
Yeah.
Has anyone said Jason Statham for it?
Who?
Oh my God. Well, he's a
I
little
was
old.
actually kind
He's
of
a little
thinking
old.
that, but yeah.
He'd be badass. I mean,
Who is that?
But he's already
Oh,
does
okay.
kinda does Bondish
I know.
roles, so it would be confusing.
it is
Oh my
too
God.
similar.
Could we cast what's his name? Oh my God, not John Cena. Like another guy that's like really muscular and white.
Well, I gotta say it like that.
Yeah,
That was rude. That was very rude, Miracle.
I know.
Who? Well, who is it?
I'm trying to think. I can't think. It's like
Cillian Murphy, the guy from all of the Nolan movies.
He's Scarecrow.
He's Scarecrow.
Maybe.
He would be a very. He looks like a Bond villain, not a Bond.
I
just
really
love him
like
as- I just love him
Really
as
like
an-
You know who I
as an
thought of
actor.
another? He might be too old, but he's also British and he's got the look. Guy Pearce.
Oh yeah! Wow.
He'd be sick.
Sean Bean can play old Bond too. Then love Sean Bean. He was
Yes.
probably in the running when he was
Mr.
younger.
Bean?
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah, because he played 006 in Goldeneye.
Yeah.
So he could have been. He could just bring him back with Pierce Brosnan and do like them in space or something.
Who's the guy who plays Mr. Bean?
I only know Tony Shalhoub from Monk. I don't know Mr.
Here,
Bean.
I'll search up
Yep.
Mr. Bean.
We should know this. You should know this,
Yeah,
Miracle.
come on.
I didn't like it when I was
Rowan
younger.
Atkinson.
Rowan
Yeah, there we
Atkinson.
go.
He's
For
in.
Bond.
Yes, he's got the face.
He's pretty anti-cancel culture too, huh?
Yeah.
Like if I remember correctly.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I don't know. We should have brainstormed more beforehand, but it would have felt better. Like you should have the answer off the top of your head. Who you think should play that character should be
Well,
like.
I'm
off
sorry,
the top of
I
your
don't
head.
know who Mr. Bean's actor is. I never watched it.
You never saw it?
I saw clips of it, but I didn't like it
Yeah.
because I thought it was immature. Same thing with like Jim Carrey. I didn't really like his movies.
Jim Carrey is the next James Bond.
I would hate it, and I'll burn the whole movie theater down.
We do not advocate that you ever do that, even no matter how much you dislike, no matter
No,
how
like-
much you dislike a movie or an actor. Don't do that.
No. I'm joking when I say that. I'm just talking about this movie theater.